Good afternoon, friends. So, we will start today with the other unit, that is the seismic vulnerability assessment of the structure. Friends, in modern days, the insurance of person is a key requirement to mitigate against any disaster. So, these insurance companies will do analysis, and that analysis is called as risk analysis. So, if we are going to consider the hazard as earthquake or a seismic hazard, so that analysis become the seismic risk analysis. So, the seismic risk analysis is essential task in a disaster mitigation to meet against the loss of the human life or the loss of property because of the earthquake. So, let us see what is this seismic risk. So, if we want to define the seismic risks, then this seismic risk is always a function of 3 variables. So, it is the function of 3 variables. So, one is hazard, the other one is vulnerability, and the last one is exposure. So, if we are going to quantify the seismic risk, then it will be governed by the 3 different parameters. Out of now these 3 different variables which are responsible to quantify the seismic risk, the first variable, that is the hazard. So, this variable is variable depends upon the nature. So, this is a natural. So, hazard is not controlled by the human being. The last variable, which is the exposure. So, this is also always increasing as the population of the building will increase. So, as an essential need, the human being will construct the buildings because of increasing population, and therefore, the hazard will also governed by the time. So, as the time increases or the time proceeds, the exposure will goes on increasing. Therefore, the obvious parameter which is referred as a controlling parameter here will be governed by this vulnerability. So, this is the parameter which we can have, we can control properly. So, how to minimize this vulnerability? So, the only solution for this is the retrofitting of the structure. So, retrofit is the answer to reduce this vulnerability, and if I am not able to, we not able to minimize this hazard and exposure, but we can strongly minimize the vulnerability of the structure by doing the retrofitting of the existing structure, which is the challenging task and which is very essential things in the earthquake prone. The curves will originate from this origin, and this will something like this. So, this is called as a seismic vulnerability curve. So, if you see that what are the variations on the axis, then on y axis, so this is the probability, this is the probability of damage, you can say, and on x axis we can consider any response parameter. So, for better understanding, if I am going to consider the response parameter as a spectral displacement, so we can consider this parameter on the x axis. So, I have drawn the 4 different curves, and this is called as the fragility curve of our structure. So, what is this fragility curve? What are these 4 parameter? So, actually this 4 parameter I have referred here from one literature from US, and that is called as Hazus. So, this is called as Hazus. So, the Hazus is nothing but the hazard US. So, to mitigate the different hazards in United States, so Hazus has given MBT, which consists of the 4 different damage states. So, what is this MBT? So, MBT is nothing but the model building types. Okay. So, this is called as a slight, this damage state is called as a slight, this is called as a moderate, this is called as extensive, and this is called as a collapse or complete, we can call this as a complete. So, this is the complete damage, this is the extensive damage, this is the moderate damage, and this is a slight damage, which has been drawn as a variation of the probability of the damage against the spectral displacement. So, if we want a discrete answer for this instead of this continuous curve, then the other part or the other kind of representation will be in form of DPM. So, DPM is nothing but the damage probability matrix. So, again this damage probability matrix consists of two different parts. On x axis again the probability, and on y axis again the different damage state. So, this is a discrete measurement, therefore, we can consider the damage as a variable along the x axis, and here I can describe this damage by using the various discrete parameters like this. In short, what are these graphs? So, this is related to the again the same thing. So, this is the damage which is a slight. So, in event of a particular earthquake, if we want to quantify the damage scenario by considering the damage state given in the Hazus. So, this is a slight, this is moderate, this is extensive, and this is complete. So, these are the final output of this seismic risk assessment. Now, this seismic risk assessment is generally governed by the various parameters, and some important parameter I would like to mention here. So, the important parameter is obviously the type of or the kind of acceleration level or the magnitude or intensity of the earthquake. Then it is governed by the type of structure. So, this is very important, and the most important part is the social economical aspect of that area, where that particular area is located, because whatever the risk assessment we are practicing at this stage. So, we are not going to estimate the probable type of structure with a type of hazard. Then obviously, we can have the analysis or the output of the analysis in terms of this particular damage scenario, either in terms of this DPM, this continuous curves, or some values of the probable loss. So, this is the scenario. So, the presentation of on this topic as well as some notes I am going to upload on the Moodle. So, at the same time, so to appreciate this procedure, we will discuss today one simple problem to analyze the structure or to quantify the risk assessment parameter, risk assessment procedure. So, let us consider this building for as a problem, as a tutorial problem for your better understanding. So, what method we are going to implement? So, we will try to solve this particular building, we will try to do the analysis or the vulnerability analysis of this building by using the simplified vulnerability assessment method. Or assessment tool. So, what is the problem statement? So, we are having the building with length of 8 meter and width of 7 meter. The building consists of 4 different rooms, and this is the G+2 building. So, I will write the data of the building here. So, this is the G+2 structure. So, the structure will consider located in zone 4. The height of building we will consider as 3 meter. The building has, the structure has 3 different windows. So, obviously, the structure is a masonry structure. So, that is the important. So, I will consider the structure as a masonry structure. So, it is having 3 windows and 2 doors. The size of window we will consider as 3 by 2 meter, and the size of door we will consider as 1.5 by 2.5 meter. We will also consider that the building is situated, the building is so I will remove this wall here. So, this will be the modified plan. So, windows will be 3, the doors will be 3. Okay. The structure is located in zone 4. This is having the height of G+2, means each floor has a height of 3 meter. So, this is the building is situated in the intermediate soil. I will let you know what is this intermediate soil. So, in nonlinear analysis, the value of one parameter we are going to consider as a 60, which is a small a here. So, that requires a nonlinear analysis. So, this is intermediate soil parameter. At the same times, the zone is 4, and the seismic weight, again important data is seismic weight. The same thing I am going to consider 1 ton per meter square. So, 1 ton per meter square will be the seismic weight of structure. So, this is the information. One more, the nonlinear parameters that we are required here, the value of m. So, m is the acceptance criteria to decide the failure of the structure on basis of the shear criteria of the structure up to the level of life safety I can consider. So, the value of m is 1.5 for the life safety kind of the performance level. We are going to focus on this particular performance level. So, performance level is life safety. So, the use of this m is 1.5. Obviously, the m will be different for the collapse prevention and the immediate occupancy even at the operational level. So, that we are supposed to understand. So, these all this data we are going to refer from the ASC 41, because the ASC 41 has given this procedure to do the simplified vulnerability assessment. So, if and when so this is the reasonable data on basis of which we are supposed to do the analysis. So, it is very important what kind of the material is being used at for the construction of this structure. So, we will assume that if I am going to use the brick masonry, then for this brick masonry, the permissible value of the stress is 0.1 megapascal. If the masonry is modified or concrete kind of masonry, then the permissible value will become 0.2 megapascal. So, this will be the change. So, these are the two conditions which we will refer in analysis, okay? And depends upon these values we will comment whether the structure is safe as per the life safety structural performance criteria or not. So, we are supposed to analyze the structure for the life safety performance level, depends upon these values. So, I will remove this and we will assume that this is the brick masonry structure G+2, and I will start the analysis, the step number 1. So, it consists of only it is simplified method. So, consists of only 5 or 6 steps. So, the problems you are supposed to undergo in these 6 steps to arrive at the final solution. So, step number 1, so it is the estimation of time period. So, I will write here the time period in longer direction is TL. So, I will write the formula. So, 0.09 h divided by under root d. So, this formula we can refer from IS 1893. So, this is for the masonry structure. So, 0.09, the h will now revise. So, 3 into 2. So, 3 meter is the height of structure and this has the 2 story divided by the 8. So, this will be the time period in second. So, this is the 0.19 second, the time period of the structure in x direction or longer direction. Similarly, we can quantify the time period in shorter direction, 0.09 h under root of d. So, 0.09 times 3 into 2 divided by under root 7. So, it will be little more of this. So, 0.20 seconds. And the step number 1 is what? The step number 2, we will estimate the seismic weight of structure. So, the seismic weight, so seismic weight will be the plan dimension. So, 8 meter by 7 meter, it consists of the 2 story, therefore, multiplied by 2 and the weight is 1 ton per meter square. So, if you quantify this, then it will come as 1120 kilonewton. So, this is the step number 2, in which we are supposed to quantify the seismic weight of the structure. The step number 3, we are supposed to find out the pseudo acceleration, or it is called as SA. So, this is the non-linear steps we are supposed to follow. Therefore, the formula what we have used in the non-linear analysis, the same formula I supposed to use. So, I will write the formula. So, SA by G multiplied by G multiplied by Z by 2 into I by R. So, obviously, the SA by G will be 2.5 because this has the time period range more than 0.1 up to the 0.4. So, it is having the highest value multiplied by G multiplied by Z is now it is in zone 4, therefore, it is 0.24 divided by 2, the I is 1 and R is 1.5. So, the reason behind the assuming the R value as 1.5. So, at this stage we do not know whether it is having the provision of the lintel band or the band at the plinth level, okay. But as it is a G plus 2 structure, the structure is withstanding against the different loads, therefore, it is assumed that the R is 1.5 in this case. So, if we estimate this, then it will come to be 0.2 G. So, the pseudo acceleration is 0.2 G. Remove this. So, I will write here in short the SA by G in longer direction will be 0.2 now. Okay, the acceleration was 0.2 G. So, if I am going to, if I wish to express in terms of SA by G in L direction, or same will be the value of SA by G in shorter direction. So, this completes the step number 3. Now, the step number 4, which is the important step, is the estimation of pseudo base shear. And this has been given by the formula C1 C2 Cm SA by G into W into B xi. Okay. So, this C1, C2, Cm, so these are the constant, and these constant we can find in ASC 41, and this constant is popularly derived by conducting some test in a laboratory. Therefore, this particular C1, C2 is going to talk about the our parameters depends upon the different cause. So, important one, that if I am going to consider the C1, so C1 is popularly known as modification factor to consider inelastic displacement, and which is given by the formula 1 plus r minus 1 a t square. So, this is the formula to get the value of C1. So, let us work out the value for the C1 in one direction. Okay. So, estimation of pseudo base shear. So, I will write this as the VBL. So, the estimation of base shear in longer direction. So, I will substitute this. So, 1 plus r is 1.5 minus 1, the A value is 60, the soil type is type 2, therefore, the A is 60. So, in some cases the value will be 90 or 30, it will depends upon the type of soil. So, in our case, so this data we have considered from the ASC 41, 60 into TE. So, TE in longer direction is 0.19. So, if you work out this 1.23, then the C2 will be the modification factor to consider hysteresis pitch in behavior. So, if the structure is subjected to repeated compression tension kind of load, then the curve which we are going to get as an end product is called as the hysteresis curve. So, the area under this hysteresis curve will be the total energy consumed by that material. So, during this formation of the hysteresis curve, whether the material is masonry, whether it is a concrete, some kind of pitching will be there. So, this is the modification to consider that pitching effect in the hysteresis curve, and this we will estimate by formula 1 plus 1 divided by 800 r minus 1 TE bracket square. So, this is the formula again. So, we will going to estimate again the value of C2. Obviously, this C1 value for longer direction is this, and the C2 value for the longer direction we will try to quantify here. So, 1 plus 1 upon 800, again the r is 1.5 minus 1 and the TE is 0.19 whole square. So, this value 1.0086. So, these are the constant, therefore, they does not have any kind of unit. Okay. So, these are the two values, and last one, the Cm is the modification factor depends on type of structure. And here the value of the Cm is 1. Why? Because our structure has only 2 floors. If the structure, if any structure has more than 3 floors, then obviously the Cm is going to vary. In our case, it has only 2 floors, therefore, it is not going to vary. So, the value of Cm will be 1. So, if we substitute these values in this formula, so this is the V b in longitudinal direction, C 1, C 2, C m, the C 1 we will get as 1.23, the C 2 is 1.0086, C m is 1, the SA by G is how much? This is 0.2, the weight is 1120, and as the structure is of masonry kind of thing, then this particular value we will consider as the 0.8. So, for concrete the value will be 1, for steel the value will be 1.4. So, it is masonry, therefore, the B's I will be the 0.8. So, if you work out this, then 223.22 kilonewton. So, this will be the pseudo base shear of the structure, 222.31 kilonewton. So, similarly, if we estimate the we can estimate the base shear in shorter direction. So, C 1, C 2, C m, SA by G, W into B's high. So, there will be little change in these values. So, instead of 0.19 now 0.20 is the time period of the structure. Therefore, obviously, the end value I am going to write here 218.35 kilonewton. So, this is the pseudo base shear in shorter direction. So, this is the pseudo base shear in longer direction. So, this consists of step number 4. So, step number 5 is estimation of area of wall, and this is again important one because we are doing the analysis of the masonry building. Therefore, what is the wall area we can estimate. So, I am going to call this is area of wall in longer direction like this. So, area of wall in longer direction. So, I will write here. So, longer direction means these two wall. So, 8 and 8 16. So, I will write the 2 times 8 meter is the total length, which is deducted this one window, this one window we should deduct. So, I will write the 2 into the longer dimension is 3. Okay. So, here in these calculations we will not going to consider the height of structure, we will only consider the length parameter, because the final value should be in terms of meter square. So, this is the area. So, that care one has to consider. So, 2 windows of 3 meter length, at the same time I should deduct the one door of 1.5, and this whole entity is multiplied by the thickness, wall thickness is 0.23. So, 0.23. So, this is outer wall. So, we will assume this wall of 230 millimeter, it is not given in the problem, but as a ordinary practice we can assume this, and this wall consists of 150 mm thick. So, this is our the regular wall that we can assume. So, this is going to add with the long wall in or the internal wall in longer direction. So, internal wall in longer direction is of 5 multiplied by 0.15. So, if you work out this, then it will comes 2.705 meter square. So, this is the area of wall in longer direction. Similarly, if we work out the area of wall in shorter direction, the same thing. In shorter direction means in this direction, orthogonal direction. So, again we are having 2 wall of 0.23 meter thick. So, I will write here the 2 times 7, and it is being deducted, it is going to deduct the window, one window is there. So, 1 multiplied by 3 Okay. So, only it is again multiplied by 0.23, again the wall, the wall in shorter direction, which is 150 mm thick. So, this is the 7 minus the 2 times 1.5 meter length of door, and this is again multiplied by the 0.15. So, this comes to be 3.13 meter square. So, this is the estimation of area of wall. And the last step, the estimation of this estimation of area of wall is now over. The shear stress in wall, the shear stress in wall. So, this is the parameter, or this is the comparing parameter, we can say. On this basis we are going to comment whether the structure is safe or not. So, I will write here the tau w is the shear stress of the structure. It is given by the formula 1 by m multiplied by V b divided by A w. Okay. So, we will consider again this shear stress in a longer direction. So, therefore, I will call this tau w l. So, the change will be the A w l and V b l. So, this m value we are going to consider as 1.5, which is the acceptance criteria for the life safety performance level of the structure. So, I am going to write here the tau w l as 1 divided by this value is 1.5. The base shear in longitudinal direction, longer direction was 231. So, I will keep this as in kilonewton only, and the area of wall is the 2.705. So, if we work out this, so this will become 54.68 kilonewton per meter square, and if you convert this, then it will come as 0.054 megapascal, or instead of megapascal I will write Newton per mm square, and which is less than 0.1 megapascal. Hence, it is safe in longer direction. The structure is safe in longer direction if the zone 4 is there with the life safety performance level, which the acceptance criteria m value is 1.5. The same thing, the last step I will repeat here one more time. So, tau w, so shear stress in wall in shorter direction, the formula is 1 divided by 1.5. So, this value is now 218.35, and this is 3.13. So, this will comes to be 46.50 kilonewton per meter square, which is 0.046 megapascal, less than 0.1 megapascal. So, we can comment that the structure is again safe in a shorter direction. So, this is the simplified tool what we have used. Only the different thing is that we have used the formulas from the ASC 41. So, I will upload this ASC 41 along with the some presentation and some reading material in the Moodle. So, thank you for your attention.